just as a reminder.
Oh, and I forgot to, feed our girls. Like, I forgot to mention like, our whole, like, typos.
And Amy, you've got the typo memo, right?
I'm never gonna make it back. No.
You got that this morning.
Yeah, that was in the.
Schedule's coming out.
Okay, so that was,
That was for each class, but all they wanted.
So I'm supposed to do
Okay.
an all-day retreat, but.
Oh, no.
This is just,
Both of
yeah,
them.
for the Lake Champlain Citizens Advisory.
This one was sent last week.
Okay.
I mean, on Monday.
That's great.
So this is for
Where
2,000, and that's for change.
It used to be a.
We'll clear that.
And that's like literally comma, space.
I'll do that.
Yes.
No, we don't go to Fifth Ave.
Yep.
It's just the tenth.
Is it just today?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's 9-3 week.
We only have a
You
13
know, I-
for 2,200. We only have a 10 for 2,000.
We would.
Gotcha.
One memo.
They'll live without.
Okay.
Now they can
Happens, right?
Amazing.
Exactly. Service in all that.
Are you ready for Monday?
Yeah. I wish we could do it in one day.
Aren't you going to?
I don't think.
It's like a slam dunk.
Well, I probably people will give speeches. If people just don't give speeches, they could do it in an hour. No, it would take, there are 7 bills, so that would take 7 hours just to, no, we're set up for 2 days.
You are set up for 2 days? Okay.
So 4 on the first day.
As I was saying, and I thought afterwards.
It says that the memo that I got, now you know it's secret. I don't know it's secret, I have no idea.
Yes. Yeah, so the.
I just want to know if I have to change my lunch spot on Monday and Tuesday when the legislators are back. Very.
Where should I go for lunch?
Oh, you know, oh, Monday and Tuesday.
Well, Sarah,
I know, it's nice to see you too. Which there's a new place called Filibuster Cafe, which I haven't been to, but it's right across from Julio's.
Yeah.
And that's new and people like that. But across from Julio's. It's that old building, that really cool one. All
right, let's go.
House.
all right, I'll hear the rest of this.
Yeah.
I have a question. And I don't know this, okay, let me. So I appreciate that, that the state board did not stray outside the existing statute. And, but this conversation, I think, highlights that there are concerns in the system. You know, when I think back to Brigham, it's all about equal educational opportunity. And when I think about this conversation, I think it's about a uniform framework for independent schools and public schools, which will be really nice to work toward. And we know we have to have equal educational opportunity. So I'm wondering if we could write a letter to the State Board of Education asking us to send us a memo or whatever form they want to do it so that tell us what parts in statute are sticky in existing statute that make it a little harder for them to have gotten through this process. There's some friction in existing statute. What could they tell us that made it hard in existing statute to go where we're trying to go? And so some recommendations for how to get to what our goals are.
If I'm understanding you correctly, you're asking the State Board of Education to send us a memo indicating where we could fix things legislatively, and we would include that letter to committees of jurisdiction.
Well, of course, to committees of jurisdiction, yes.
Because they're the ones who need to do it, not us.
Yeah, I know. I should have said to committees of jurisdiction, copying us. If that's allowed, if it's not.
No, they would send it to us, and then we would.
And then we send it. Okay, that's what I was saying in the first place. Okay.
Do that.
I would move that we do that. That's what it takes, a motion.
We have a motion on the.
Oh, that's
right
true.
now.
Okay. Make a
We
friendly
can
amendment.
come back to that.
All right.
Underway.
For clarity, is Representative Bodie's comment specific to Act 1? or is it more generic?
Well, it is the work that's been done on the two rules. We'll have one set of rules for one set of schools, for another. Should we have uniform? I need to know what they found the most challenging and what could make education delivery go more smoothly in the state and
My understanding would be it's not specific to Act One, it's about process.
I think in the end, you should show the differences that independent schools, they have a different governance structure. And that you can't just apply exactly the same language and the same rules to both because it doesn't work. It actually doesn't even make sense. And so that's why they approached this the way they did. And so the only way to make it completely uniform would be to have only public schools and no independent schools. So I think that what you're suggesting is so broad, but in the end, it comes down to the fact that we have different governance. So I don't want to put the committee through make work just for the sake of make work.
no, I wasn't thinking making it work.
I just want to make sure that we're not doing that.
Well, and if I may, we are not elected, we're appointed by the governor, and, unlike you guys, where you have constituents. You have constituents that you're representing. We're not charged with wrestling with those, really deep philosophical issues that we've been watching the legislature wrestle with for years. I mean, these are sticky questions. They are not easy questions, but I'm not sure that it's appropriate for the board to be, putting its finger on the scale with regard to the answers, because we are really set up to do the work that is asked of us by the General Assembly. And I understand that you're asking us to opine on this. I guess my concern is that because we're not elected, and I couldn't even guess if there's, uniformity within the board as to what we think the right answer is. I think, it would probably be fair to say that the board is probably wrestling with these issues much as the General Assembly is. So I think it would be tricky, and I'm not sure if that would sort of be straying beyond, what we are established by statute to do. But we have ledge counsel here.
What
so-
does the statute say the state board should do?
I'm concerned about time here,
Oh.
and this is something that we could take up at our next meeting and have a conversation
All right.
about this. What we could do is I can spend some time with ledge counsel and identify those areas that were of concern. So we're not putting the State Board of Education on the hot seat. And we could then think about what we've heard are some of those issues, and we could send letters to increase jurisdiction based on our conversation here about the testimony that's been given to us. And I suggest that we put that off until the next meeting, because we are certainly running out of time here to get the work done today. That feel comfortable for everyone?
The extensions we did earlier, was that?
So we've only extended.
We're not talking about postponing this.
In that, I definitely would like to hear what the charge is of the State Board of Education.
You're good? You're good? Everyone good right now? Okay. We have a motion.
Yeah, I think we have to make sure the motion was correct. Because we got amendments to one set of rules one day.
We conflated two letters with just so. Can you just offer the amendment?
Yeah, so you can withdraw the motion.
Okay.
And then the motion would be, I move that we approve Rule 23-P22, State Board of Education Rule Series 2000, the education quality standards with the proposed modifications submitted by the State Board of Education in its memorandum dated June 10th, 2024.
So we're not gonna postpone action. Till another date. No, the motion's been put on the table.
So the motion.
No, not postponing action.
So I will make that motion, and that is of course with regard to the public, the first set of rules that we're looking at, the public set public, school rules.
Yes, that's the education.
And that's the motion that I'll put on the table right now.
So your motion to approve rule 2023P22 as amended in a letter on June 10th.
So,
Any discussion?
earlier, I'd asked two questions and I learned that there are two sets of rules here and they work together. And the suggestion that we postpone action on something only affects one of those two. Or,
What's on the table right now is a motion to approve this rule. 2000 series.
If I can, I think Senator, we just did that for a temporary basis, right? To postpone action on the original motion so that we could hear from the second rule.
Well, we actually didn't postpone action, we just let it sit on the table.
agreed to
I don't think.
Yeah.
listen to that to see,
Held
because it was
it in
gonna
place.
affect the one that
Yeah.
we're talking about. I'm disappointed in that, since both of them were better understood together. That if we're gonna postpone anything, it's that the understanding of how the two work until the next time. I'm only one vote, so.
Anyway, any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So, no. Motion passes. We then have 23P37. Independent school program approval rules.
I'll start with the motion to extend the deadline to June 21st. So that make that motion first. Extend it to June 21st.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adopt the rules. With the addition of the memo that we received today,
Yes,
right, that we received today.
any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Heidi,
No funny.
Okay, we have several rules from PCF. And three of them are starting reach up. So Heidi, are you proposing to sort of speak on three of those? And you will suddenly take it,
Yeah, I can speak. They all fall under the Reach Up umbrella, so I could speak to all four of them
okay.
at once, if that works for the committee.
All right, so I'll let you be in reference to 24P08. This is the reach first rules. And then 24P09, which is reach up services rules. And then P10, which is reach up eligibility rules. And then P11 is the post-secondary education program rules. And so you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I'm Heidi Moreau, a policy advisor for the Department for Children and Families. Before you today are four sets of rules that all fall under the Reach Up umbrella of programs, which is both federally funded by the Federal Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Block Grant and state funded. The first set of rules, Reach First, is completely federally funded. It's what's called a diversion program, and it's for families experiencing a short-term crisis that could be resolved within 4 months, and they receive a financial assistance equivalent to 4 months of Reach Up assistance to help them resolve that short-term crisis. So the changes to this rule in 2019, the department started an initiative to reorganize, renumber, update the content of rules. And this is the product of that project that was started back in 2019. And then we also made some updates to the Reach First rules in response to Act 133 that was passed back in 2022 to remove references to the work requirement and remove the mandatory participation requirements. So that covers the Reach First rules. The next program is Reach Up, and that's sort of longer term cash assistance for low-income families to help them become more self-sufficient, reach their goals. They receive case management and support services in addition to financial assistance. So there are two sets of rules that govern the Reach Up program. One is that deals exclusively with eligibility for the financial assistance, and the other governs the case management and participation requirements. So for both of these rules, they already went through, last year they went through the reorganization process. So they've already been reorganized. So for them, they are just, we were just updating them to align with the Act 133 requirements. These actually went into effect back in January of this year in accordance with the Act. So we're sort of playing catch up with the rules to align with these new participation requirements. And then the final set is the post-secondary education program. This is a completely state-funded program, and it provides a cash assistance benefit equivalent to the Reach Up financial assistance benefit for families with a parent who's pursuing secondary, post-secondary education. And I'm happy to accept any questions the committee may have on these four rules.
I know go ahead, Senator Lyons.
I have two questions. Excuse me. So on the post-secondary education rule on page 6, there is a comment about PSE benefits shall be accepted in lieu of Reach Up benefits if the PSE participant is eligible for Reach Up benefits. Can you explain that to me a little bit? I think I've got myself confused when I read it.
So under the PSE program, the family still has to meet the eligibility requirements for Reach Up financial assistance. So if they meet those financial eligibility criteria for Reach Up, but they're pursuing post-secondary education, they can receive a benefit equivalent to what they would have received if they were on Reach Up.
Okay, thank you. That was very helpful. Then my other question is on the Reach Up services rule, and I'm on page 6 of that. But the question is about the active cases for an individual case manager, and it's 80 active cases. And it's really a content question, and whether or not that is overwhelming for the case manager. 80 seems like a significant number given the 6-month evaluations, the yearly recertification, and other work that has to go on. So can you talk a little bit about how that number was determined?
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Erin Olikin. She's the director of the Reach Up program, to answer that question.
Good morning, everyone. Erin Olikin, director of the Reach Up program. So it would be extremely rare that somebody would go that high in cases. And usually that just happens if, for example, we have a staff shortage, or if the program enrollment were to increase in a way that was unexpected. But right now, I would say the average is somewhere between 40 and 45 per case manager. And I do agree that 80 is quite a large number and is kind of, we think of it as a really maximum ceiling, but not a standard.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the question is, why put 80 in there unless you would say something like under extenuating circumstances? Because even when you're talking about 45, get concerned. I know that 30 seems a lot. So was there any discussion about having that there be some kind of a range with consideration for extenuating circumstances resulting in 80? I'd hate to think that we're putting our case managers under that level of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the reality is that we have a finite number of case managers, and it would require a new funding allocation and approval of more positions in order to lower that number even further. So,
but
so,
you've
yeah.
but you're indicating that we don't have 80 unless
Not
something
now.
radical happens. So my suggestion, and I don't know whether you need to come back with this, but my suggestion would be, and the Lcar can agree or disagree, and it's probably more of a committee of jurisdiction conversation, but my suggestion would be to add language in there that somehow we identify 80 as an extreme or under extenuating circumstances. You don't have to reference what those circumstances are. There may be a case where everyone is sick and you need to expand that coverage, but putting that in there then suggests that if I decide to become a case manager and I get the job, I'm going to be working 24/7. So just my comment. Can you add in language, and this is for you, Aaron and Heidi, can we add language in that something about what the current average is or what the average case load is, and then under extenuating circumstances may extend to 80 active cases?
I think the problem with adding an average is that it can fluctuate quite a bit.
I don't care I don't care whether it's average or whether it's a different level, but the 80 bothers me greatly.
I think this is something we'd want to go back. The statute requires that we establish maximum caseloads based on, research on best practices. So I think we'd want to go back and, look at that. I think that 80 number has been in the rule forever. So I think this is something that we'll want to go back and look at further on what that number should be.
Well, can I ask you to do that and without asking for, unless the rest of the committee wants some clarity on this, I would ask of you that you go back and look at that language and perhaps bring to the committees of jurisdiction some information on this when we get back in session. I mean, is anyone under 80 caseload right now?
They're all under 80.
Oh my gosh. I mean, they're under 80. They're
Yes,
not at,
under.
oh, okay.
No, under, far under 80.
Okay, they're under 50 right now. So we can relax a little bit about that. But then if you could come back at some point during session and update committees of jurisdiction, I think that would be helpful. That's a place to have that conversation, obviously in conjunction with appropriations and budget discussions.
Sure.
Thanks. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Other committee members on any of the rules? Senator Bray.
We're going to do them in sequence. So I would move approval of Rule 24P08, Department of Children's and Family Reach-Up Rules. So it'd be moving approval of P08, Department of Children and Family Reach-Up Rules with proposed modifications submitted by the Department for Children and Families in a memorandum dated May 28, 20.
We have a motion on to approve 24P08. Any discussion? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. 24P09.
Make a motion, we approve 24P09 Department of Children and Families Reach Up Services Rules. Is there a
That also
modification on that as well?
Yep, it was also amended, with memorandum dated May 28th.
So move.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. 24P10. Senator Bray.
Returns with Representative Hinckley. I move approval for Rule 24P10, Department of Children and Families Reach Up Eligibility Rules with proposed modifications submitted by the Department for Children and Families in the memorandum dated May 28, 2024.
We have a motion to approve 24P10. Discussion, additional discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll make a motion that we approve 24P11 Department for Children and Families Post-Secondary Education Program Rules as modified in the memorandum of May 28th, 2024 by DCF.
We have a motion. Senator Lyons to approve 24P11. Any additional discussion? Favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, Heidi. And, sorry, can't see me.
Aaron.
Aaron,
Thank you.
thank you all so much. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, have a good one. Is that it for our agenda? I believe it is. Just real quick, how many rules do we have for the 27th? Four. Okay, just.
I think when we're on the 27th, mentioned last time, I won't be available at all, so.
Is everybody else okay with the 27th right now?
I will be zooming in.
Okay,
I'm back from Seattle late that night, but I'll be able to
all right.
zoom in.
And we're here in this room again. Yeah. Okay. Senator McDonald.
I've served on Lcar a long time. I'm very grateful to my colleagues for indulging the questions that I asked for a long time. And I just thank you much. I know everybody
They were good.
concerned about this and trying to do what's best. So
Mhm.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
What we had, or why do we have this in front of me today?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to be sure.
That was just what's